I think everybody can handle getting the seat off. I start with the Phillips screw that goes to the vacuum valve for the new exhaust. Just put that there. Go ahead and remove both plates to give myself some working space. And make sure this is for California carb emissions. It's not used in the other states. California only, so just get that out of the way. This just put to the side, and then you got this whole bundle of wires, which is kind of a pain. I just rotate it up, and that way when you're putting the battery in, you can actually get your hand under here and lift this whole mess up. What you want to be cautious of, I've noticed that the factory, this is your rear brake switch on the brake pedal, and they put it right in between the clamp for the side panel where it's on the frame, and then you got the vent, top of the vent for the final drive is also right there. So I move those around either side of the down tube, so it gives you a little bit more room this way when you're putting the battery in. On the ECU right here, it's kind of angled, so I've found that rotating it on its bracket so it's straighter gives me more room this way as well when I'm putting the battery back. Now in preparation for putting the battery in from the side, I put the kickstand down. You don't have to put it down very far, or the kickstarter down, and then I just use a bungee to hold it in place. You have the lower battery isolator, little piece of rubber. Sometimes it's just a cut piece of rubber. Sometimes it's an actual formed piece of rubber with a hole in the center. Doesn't really matter. All it's doing is helping to dampen the vibration. So you're going to want to place that down at the bottom of the tray. Now on the battery itself, I actually go ahead and put the screws and the little threaded blocks in, because it's really hard to get these in once the battery's in, particularly on the positive side. So positive in first, negative towards the outside. So the positive side bundle, I just make sure that's poking out like under the cover on the right side. Like I said, keep this up out of the way. Your switch, or your valve, I should say, make sure this is kind of up out of the way. And then your negative, you can just put that out here. Everything else just reach in, kind of lift up like that. And you can work your battery in under that whole bundle of wires until you get it in there sitting on the battery tray flat. Then you can cock this side in to get it to clear this down tube and slide it back. That's about where it's going to sit. This is the part I hate, getting these little straps on. So what I do is I start with the back one. And sometimes I have to kink this up a little bit to get it started. See, there it goes. The front is a little bit easier. And then I put the screw in from the front, going under the harness. So then you kind of got to lift it up out of the way to get everything to play nice with each other. And once you get it started through the back, you should have enough threads exposed to get the little nut on. Once I got all that started, then I try and wedge my little top rubber isolator in there. And because I bent the back one up, it helps me kind of slide it up under the battery. The front one is easier because it's going over that gap. And then the reason I put the screw in from the front is because I take my little stubby. If you're using just regular hand tools, you can put your little stubby screwdriver in from the front, 8mm, and a ratchet on the back, and just put in the time to tighten it down. Yeah, you can see right there how much I got sticking out the other side, and it's super solid in there. You can go ahead and remove your bungee cord now, or zip tie, or whatever you got down there. Okay, so now you're at the point you can take this screw out. You've already got your little block down there, so you don't have to try and feed it in from the other side. Pull your screw out, and then bring your positive cable up from underneath. I always have trouble with these things because of the cap. It seems a little bit small, so I just throw a heat gun on it. So once I get that going, I just kind of guide it down, get that started. I throw my 10 on it, give it a little extra twist, trying to keep those wires straight, but I give it extra just so it doesn't loosen up on me, causing a bad contact situation. And then this little rubber boot, I find that if I pull these wires down, get that guy like right close to where it needs to be, and then give it a couple seconds of, maybe 10 seconds or so with the heat gun, it softens it enough that I can work it over the terminal. So in the end, I end up with something like that, and it's down most of the way. You keep pressing the air out of the thing, and it'll go down further and further. Then you got your negative side, same deal. Pull your negative from wherever it's at. Get that started. It's really hard to do this with the camera in the way. And then like the negative or the positive side, I put my 10mm on it and just give it extra little, just to make sure it's not going to vibrate loose and cause a bad contact situation. And then from there, you just kind of, I tuck this stuff in, make sure it's not going to fall out of the side panel. Make sure I got enough room here. Make sure it's not hitting the donut or the clutch release rod. It's not a lot of wiggle room, but you know, it's usually enough. You can clean it up a little bit nicer if you want. And then everything you pushed out of the way, you can just kind of push it back down. Reconnect my valve. Get my bolt started. And install your seat like you normally would. Install your side panel and you're done.